Welcome back. I have Selena here with me, and we're talking grammar today. We're talking about the verb and more work of the verb. It's a lot of fun. So, Selena, wave. Selena waves. Wave, Selena. Selena waves. She's waving right now. She's waving right now. It's happening. The action of waving is happening right now. Okay, Selena and Chris, smile. Selena and Chris are smiling right now. The smiling is happening in this moment, in the present. We call these verbs that we're talking about, we call these verbs or actions happening in the present tense. Present means happening right now. Tense comes from the Latin tempus, which means time. So when we're talking about these actions, we're talking about actions that are happening right now. Did you know that verbs could tell time? It's pretty cool to think about that the way we speak is telling you time by the words we choose. Like earlier, Selena waved. If Selena waves right now, Selena waves. If Selena's going to wave later today, Selena will wave. She will wave later. So we can talk about time by talking about verbs. So we are going to use one of our Valentine boxes to talk more about the telling time or how verbs can tell time. And so we're going to start by setting up our green cards. And maybe you'll remember these from when we've talked about, I did not organize them in my box. Maybe you remember these from when we've done work with the pronoun. And so what we're setting up here is we're talking about what happens when we're talking about one, like when we're talking about one person doing an action or many people doing the action. So when it was Selena waves and when it's then we smiled. Okay, and then we have our different first person, second person, and third person ways of talking about our people. Okay, and now we have more room there. Now we have our pronouns. So I'm going to move these out of the way and we're going to talk about this. When I'm talking about the first person singular, I'm talking about myself, I. And when I'm talking about second person, when I'm talking about Selena and there's just one of her, I'm talking about you. And when I'm talking in third person with a singular, I'm saying he or she, or even it. And those usually stack a little bit nicer, but I want you to be able to see everything. He, she, and it. There we go. Okay, now when we're talking plural and I'm talking about first person plural, I'm talking about like when Selena and I both smiled, we smiled. And then when we're talking about second person plural, that's you, like you are watching this video. And when we're talking third person, it's they. They are watching the video. Okay, I'm gonna move those, I'm gonna move those over a little bit so we have a little more room. Now we have some verbs to work with. We can work with the verb to love. We can work with the verb to listen. We can work with the verb to work. I'm going to talk about to love because I love a lot of things about this season and this time of year, and I love all of you. So we're going to work with to love. And we're talking in present tense. Remember, we talked about things that are happening right now. So if I were to make a sentence saying, I love chocolate. Selena, what do you love?
Tiger and Cleo.
You love Tiger and Cleo. And Tiger, he loves Cleo. He loves his sister. How about if we were talking about her? If we're talking about Cleo, She loves cuddling. And then if we were talking about, when we talked about a cockroach, it loves food. I think the cockroach loves food. So those are the ways we say to love in the present tense if we're talking about one thing or one person. If we were talking about it with plural, we love singing Christmas songs. And you, talking to all of you out there, you love lessons. And when we're talking about other people, talking about maybe people from Miss Kate's class, they love lessons too. So we've just looked at all of the ways we would say to love in the present tense. I love, you love, he, she, or it loves, we love, you love, and they love. When love is happening right now, for the singular first and second person, we just say love. But when we're talking about to love singular but third person, it's loves, he loves, she loves. But I wouldn't say I love, I would say I love. When love is happening right now, we say I love, or you love, or we love, or they love. The only time it changes is if we're talking about that third person, he, she, or it loves. Okay, so what we have done here, this is called a conjugation of the verb. You just conjugated your first verb. Maybe it's not your first verb, maybe you've done this work before. But what we just did is we conjugated the verb to love. To conjugate means to attach it to all the different pronouns that we use to create all those sentences that are talking about to love in the present tense. So that was really fun. In your journal, I want you to draw out this, and you can use whatever verb you want. In the classroom, you would be able, like I said, you could use the to listen or to work. You have to listen, you have to work. You could use those verbs, you could use another one. Just make sure that when you're writing it, you're writing in the present tense, something as it's happening in the moment that it's happening in, because we're telling time of right now. So cool to know that verbs can tell time, and we can talk about to love right now. I do love chocolate right now. You do love your kitties right now. So it's fun to think about that. And we do love to sing Christmas carols right now. Okay, I can't wait to see your verbs that you conjugate. You need to copy the one that I did here. It'll be in my journal for an example. And then I want you to conjugate 2 other verbs. They can be to work and to listen, or whatever verbs you choose. I can't wait to see it. We'll see you next time.